Right now on Morning News Now, she's the star witness in Donald Trump's historic criminal hush money trial. Adult film actress Stormy Daniels giving detailed testimony about her relationship with the former president.
So this was a very big day, a very revealing day. As you see, their case is totally falling apart.
We have team coverage, including a unique first-hand account from a sketch artist who's been inside the courtroom since the trial began. Developing this morning, pressure and progress toward a ceasefire in Gaza as the U.S. halts a critical weapons shipment to Israel following the Israeli ground operation in Gaza. This as pro-Palestinian protests continue at colleges here in the U.S. from coast to coast. We'll bring you the latest. Plus, TikTok fighting back against a potential nationwide ban on the popular app. We'll break down their lawsuit against the federal government that's renewing a debate over the First Amendment. And we're throwing shade on sun exposure myths. That's right. It's warming up, and for a lot of us, that means working on that tan. Well, we're going to get doctors' advice on how to catch rays without damaging your skin. Certainly not in a tanning bed.
Yeah, but important information this morning.
Yes, it is, for sure.
Good morning. I'm Christine Romans. I'm in for Joe Fryer today.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Thanks for starting your Wednesday with us. We're going to get started today with that dramatic day in former President Trump's criminal trial. The jury heard from Stormy Daniels, a star witness, of course, at the center of the case.
That's right. The adult film actress took the stand just 10 feet or so from the former president, describing in explicit detail her alleged sexual encounter with him, which prosecutors say he tried to hide from voters in 2016. For his part, Trump has denied the encounter and any wrongdoing. His attorneys demanded a mistrial yesterday. They're arguing that Daniels' testimony was prejudicial to the jury and outside the scope of the case. The judge rejected that. Meanwhile, the judge overseeing his federal documents case in Florida indefinitely postponed the trial, which was set to begin in less than 2 weeks. We have a full team coverage this morning. In just a moment, we're going to talk to the woman who has been bringing the trial to life for us, the sketch artist, Christine Cornell. But we begin with NBC News reporter Gary Grumbach and NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos. So nice to see both of you. Gary, let me start with you. You heard from Stormy Daniels yesterday. She took the stand. This has been the testimony so many people have been waiting for. What is your big takeaway about her testimony?
I think there were two big things, relatability and credibility as it relates to the witness, Stormy Daniels. Nobody didn't need an introduction into who Stormy Daniels was when she took the stand there, but they really tried to make her a very relatable person. They talked about her growing up in Baton Rouge, didn't have a whole lot of money, became a nationally renowned equestrian in her process, graduated from college, went from there. And they talked about how she really became somebody who made it on her own through the adult film industry. So that was sort of the relatability of it all. And also, when she was on the stand, she talked about the idea that the jury was trying to relate to her. She was trying to sort of relate to the jury in that way. As it relates to the credibility, that is a big point here, because she's somebody who was not always told the truth about things related to this particular story, and that's something that the defense in cross-examination was really trying to point out as well.
Yeah, Danny, what are you feeling this morning? If you wake up, you're the prosecution, you're the defense, based on some of these pretty graphic details that we heard as the prosecution was questioning her, but then also some intense cross-examination.
If there is a conviction in the years to come, the big question will be, was this a risk that was too great given the benefit to the prosecution? This was a classic risk balancing analysis. Did the prosecution need Stormy Daniels? I can make the argument that they didn't. Number one, to the extent she established a transaction where Cohen paid her money, that was almost, in my view, established beyond a reasonable doubt by other witnesses already in this case. Second, was her testimony needed to show that the market value of her story increased at the time of the campaign? Maybe, but we already got a lot of that testimony from Hope Hicks. So with every witness, you have to balance what is the possible risk against the possible reward. And if 2 years from now, the appellate division says Stormy Daniels' testimony about the salacious sex encounters went too far and turned this into a quasi-sexual assault case when that's not what this is, and a conviction is overturned, well, then the risk wasn't worth the reward. But if not, make no mistake about it, the prosecution knew they were pushing the envelope because that evidence was just so fantastic for them. It really painted Trump in a very negative light. Who among us didn't come away from yesterday's testimony saying some version of ick in our heads and applying that ick to the defendant, which only helps the prosecution.
It was uncomfortable. Some of that testimony was uncomfortable, and it was kind of salacious in many cases. So how, Gary, did the jury react to that testimony?
I would compare this to a tennis match. You were seeing jurors go from Stormy Daniels to the prosecution, from Stormy Daniels to the prosecution, back and forth. They were very much paying attention. During some of the financial witnesses that we've seen over the past couple of days, some of them didn't seem to be totally paying attention the entire time. This was very different. They were absolutely taking notes. They were absolutely very interested. And it's going to be interesting to see, as this continues with the cross-examination on Thursday, if that attention keeps up.
Let's, Danny, before we let you go, talk about this decision out of Florida, classified documents case indefinitely postponed. It was supposed to get underway in just a couple weeks. What's going on here?
So it didn't appear that it was something just done by fiat. The judge issued an order explaining the reasons why there are a lot of pending motions, a lot of complexities. But the takeaway is obviously that there is no trial date set. In my experience, normally federal courts do set trial dates. Sometimes they're unreasonably soon, and they leave it to the parties to make motions and move those dates out. So having no trial date seems a little unusual to me, but there's a lot of talk about, can we get the judge recused? Can this become something that you can take up on appeal? And the answer to both of those is almost certainly no. Judges have considerable power to control their own dockets. Can you criticize this judge for managing hers not well? Sure. But Jack Smith really doesn't have a lot of options here. Sometimes you draw a judge that isn't favorable to your situation. In my jaded view as a criminal defense attorney, most of the time it's the defense drawing a former prosecutor judge. But Jack Smith knows that, hey, look, he just spun the roulette wheel and it didn't come up his number.
All right. Jaded Danny Cevallos, thank you so much, Gary Grunbach. Nice to see you both. Thank you. We'll talk again soon.
Definitely. Well, we're joined now by courtroom sketch artist Christine Cornell. She's been inside the courtroom since the trial began. She is giving us this imagery that we would not otherwise get. Christine, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. We are so interested to speak with you. So trial now, heating up. I loved the detail that Gary just provided us with, that he sort of imagined it like a tennis match with the jury going back and forth, kind of watching, listening, taking in every detail as this really does kind of start to heat up with these star witnesses. I know you've been in courtrooms for a lot of high-profile, high-stakes cases. What was yesterday like, in your opinion? Just the mood in the room? Tense? Matter of fact, how did it feel?
I thought it was wonderful. I really loved Stormy Daniels. I thought she was the most actually authentic person. And I was very grateful that she was able to come out and give us something that made some reality of this, kind of flesh it out, that indeed there was some encounters and it didn't leave her happy. And she's been struggling with it for a long time to keep it in a place where it didn't run her life. And then it started to get out of control. And so it's completely understandable to me how her story would change because, everybody denies if they don't want it talked about. And now she's talking about it. So it's just the flip side of the same coin. He's very uncomfortable, obviously. And yeah, it did take our heads into places that I'm sure he would prefer that nobody was thinking about.
Christine, I wonder what it was like drawing her. I mean, because she is in the public imagination sort of frozen in time in 2006, and you got to see the real current day Stormy Daniels. What kind of responsibility was that to draw her?
Well, she's very energetic, very wound up gal. And I really, was reaching to try and get some of those qualities. She's obviously a very beautiful woman and a little bit older. And this was an awkward spot for her to be in, to have to talk about this stuff. So she was endearing, frankly.
I know the judge chided Mr. Trump for swearing under his breath during her testimony. Is that something you were close enough to hear?
That the judge was doing what?
He chided Mr. Trump for swearing under his breath. Did you hear that?
I did not. No, but it doesn't surprise me, of course. Nothing from Mr. Trump surprises me.
I wonder also, we've talked a lot about, of course, as I think a lot of Americans are, that, this is the first time that we're seeing anything like this, completely unprecedented, a former president in a criminal trial. I know you've covered
it's like the case we can get,
What is that like to be?
You may want the criminal documents, but this is what we have.
But being in the room for this, actually drawing it, being one of the people that's providing images of a totally historical moment for the country, what's that feel like? Is it something that you think about a lot?
You know, I've been doing this for so long that I don't really think about any historic aspect of it, because it's just a new drama, and it's a new human drama. It's not If you want to say, isn't this an amazing scene? It's a little bit of a tawdry scene, frankly. Right. But it's, and as far as historic goes, I mean, infidelity is one of the most ancient crimes. So it's not like something astonishing happened here. It's all about the cover up.
Right.
And that's the only thing. It's really a very dry case.
Christine, you're such a sort of a legend in New York court circles. Yeah. I have to say, for those of our viewers who are watching, you have covered, here's a short list of what you've covered. Bernie Madoff, the Boston bombing, the Central Park Five, Martha Stewart, many of these cases that I've covered too. Tense public interest in these. What sort of responsibility do you think courtroom artists have to the public in telling these stories?
Just to be honest, just to be... to give a good representation of what the emotional temperature in the room is. We're the only thing that they've got, and you want to do a very good job. Obviously, you want to have spot-on portraits, and you want to create a dynamic where you get to feel a little bit of what is going on between the characters.
Have you given any thought to how you're going to capture the moment when the verdict is read in a few weeks?
Oh, gracious, no. Hold on to your hats.
Well, Christine, we so appreciate your time this morning. Thank you very much for joining us as you are covering, whether you're thinking about it or not, something quite historic. And we do really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Well, in another high-profile legal battle, TikTok is fighting back, now suing the U.S. government over recent legislation that would force the popular social media platform to be sold from its Chinese parent company or face a ban in the United States. Now the social media giant says the potential ban violates the First Amendment. Take a look.
Calling a ban so obviously unconstitutional, TikTok sued the U.S. government, trying to undo the legislation signed into law last month that would force its Chinese parent company to sell within a year or see it banned. TikTok and ByteDance arguing the law disregards less extreme alternatives and is simply not possible, not commercially, not technologically, not legally. Adding the law will force a shutdown of TikTok by January 19, 2025, silencing the 170 million Americans who use the platform.
Do you think there's a chance here that TikTok successfully challenges this?
I think TikTok has a chance, and if they can articulate that their First Amendment rights are being denied, then the government may have to show that the legislation was necessary to achieve a compelling interest.
The Department of Justice declined to comment on the lawsuit, but in a recent interview, FBI Director Christopher Wray telling Lester TikTok is a national security concern because it is beholden to the Chinese government.
It has to do with the recommendation algorithm. It has to deal with the software. We're talking about the ability to control or collect data on millions and millions of users.
TikTok arguing unspecified national security concerns are not enough of a reason to restrict free speech, and has previously denied it provides American user data to China.
The TikTok finally fires back.
Some of the app's users today celebrating the lawsuit.
They feel like they have a case.
A case in which TikTok says it is being unfairly singled out and is ready to prove as much in court.
So what happens from here, right? Well, first, the lawsuit was filed with this particular court, the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. It was essentially written into this law that was the only court where a challenge to this legally could come. And it's kind of like the second highest court in the land. So it's likely going to take months for arguments to be made there and to get a ruling. That's after the government most likely files a motion to dismiss. From there, an appeal would go straight to the U.S. Supreme Court.
People in western Michigan are cleaning up after several suspected tornadoes touched down Tuesday. Dozens of workers were trapped in this FedEx facility near Kalamazoo after the side of the building was ripped off. Look at that, by this powerful storm. Crews spent several hours clearing debris before rescuing the roughly 50 people inside of there. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt. This nearby mobile home park and shopping center were destroyed by one of the suspected twin tornadoes that tore through the area. We're also keeping an eye on severe storms targeting the plains, parts of the southern plains, and even into Mississippi, Tennessee, and Ohio river valleys.
Yeah,
today.
meteorologist Michelle Grossman is here on set with us with the latest. Michelle, good morning.
Hi there, guys. Great to see you. And yeah, another day of severe weather. We're going to see it today, also Thursday, and possibly into Friday. This is what it's going to look like today. 56 million people at risk. So many millions of people. And the real estate is just so large. It extends from portions of Texas all the way to portions of the Northeast. The target area here is in the yellow, the orange, the red, especially the red. This is where we could see some strong tornadoes. Nashville, Paducah, Springfield. We could see some really large hail, giant hail, 2 inches or larger, strong tornadoes, winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour. But certainly where you see the orange, we could see some really strong storms as well. That's Indianapolis, down in Dallas, Waco, and places that have seen severe weather so many times this season already. This is what it looks like on radar right now. We are really active overnight. We're starting to calm down a bit, but that's going to reignite as we get through the daytime hours with that daytime heating into the evening and overnight hours. So we're still seeing heavy rain. A lot of these storms are going to be training over the same area. The ground is so saturated. We're looking at rainfall rates of 1, 2, 3 inches per hour. So that's going to be a concern as well. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings this morning. That's where you see the orange box. But that will be the big story. Also the chance for tornado warnings as we go throughout the day. 13 million people under flood alerts. We have the green there. That is a flood watch. So places like St. Louis, Nashville, Knoxville, London, Chattanooga could see some flooding. And we could see some flash flooding as well, especially in that really pink area, moderate risk for Nashville. That's going to be an area where you want to be weather alert today. And look at heed any warnings, be weather aware as you go throughout your Wednesday. So as we go throughout the next couple of days, rain will be a big problem, especially in the Tennessee Valley where you see those darker colors. We're expecting over 3 inches of rain. Certainly could be higher within any specific storms. So this is the setup here. We have an area of low pressure. It's a strong one that's bringing those severe risks to portions of Texas all the way to West Virginia. Also looking at the chance for some wet weather in New England. Then by tomorrow, more showers in the mid-Atlantic, the Northeast. Once again, we're looking at that severe zone from the central Texas parts of Texas to the East Coast. So again, another tough day. And then by Friday, soggy conditions for most of the East Coast. You guys, we have been tracking severe weather for so many days and unfortunately in the same spot. So again, another weather alert day.
I know that old April showers bring May flowers. It's like April was wild, May is wild. It's been a wild spring
blooming
altogether.
Flower fields by June.
Yeah, hopefully.
Right? Yeah.
Thanks, Michelle.
Sure.
All right, now to Washington, where President Biden marked Holocaust Remembrance Day by denouncing the recent wave of anti-Semitic incidents since the start of the war between Israel and Hamas. This comes as college students continue pro-Palestinian protests on campuses across the U.S. and political pressure increases on the president. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander has more.
With an explosion of violent clashes and hateful comments directed at Jews on campuses nationwide, President Biden is condemning what he calls a ferocious surge of anti-Semitism.
There's no place on any campus in America, any place in America, for anti-Semitism or hate speech or threats of violence of any kind.
With a bipartisan group of leaders holding photos of Holocaust victims, the president drew parallels between the horrors of the Holocaust and Hamas's terror attack on Israel on October 7th, the deadliest day for Jews since World War II.
People are already forgetting. They're already forgetting that Hamas unleashed this terror. It was Hamas that brutalized Israelis. It was Hamas who took and continues to hold hostages. I have not forgotten, nor have you.
President Biden's been facing intensifying pressure from progressive Democrats calling on him to stop sending arms to Israel.
There are protests all over the country. We have a president that just refuses to talk.
And from Republicans blaming him for not criticizing the protests sooner.
Instead of protecting Jewish students, Joe Biden has pandered to the pro-Hamas wing of the Democrat Party.
The latest flashpoint, the University of Chicago. Police in riot gear sweeping in to clear a pro-Palestinian encampment, scuffling with demonstrators protesting Israel, sending tanks into southern Gaza. Those protests amplify a politically challenging issue for the president, who polls show is losing support among young voters. Meanwhile, the Anti-Defamation League reports anti-Semitic incidents, harassment, vandalism, and violence are up 140% in the last year, surging nearly 900% in the last decade.
That was Peter Alexander reporting. President Biden's speech comes as he's been critical of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's handling of the war in Gaza. The president says his commitment to Israel's security is, quote, ironclad despite disagreements.
Well, the White House says it's still optimistic that a ceasefire deal can be reached in Gaza despite Israel rejecting a Hamas-agreed proposal. Negotiations are continuing in Cairo today. The talks come after IDF troops seized control of the Gaza side of the Rafah crossing in what Israel called a limited incursion. But relief agencies are accusing Israel of choking off aid to the decimated Palestinian enclave by shutting down that crossing. The UN Secretary General joined an international chorus urging Israel to end the Rafah assault.
I'm disturbed and distressed by the renewed military activity in Rafah by the Israeli Defense Forces. Make no mistake, a full-scale assault on Rafah would be a human catastrophe. Countless more civilian casualties, countless more families forced to flee yet again with nowhere safe to go, because there is no safe place in Gaza.
NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez joins us from southern Israel. Raf, what is the latest on these ceasefire talks in Cairo?
Savannah, Christine, good morning. We're in Kibbutz Nir Oz. It's one of the communities overrun by Hamas on October 7th. And today it is one of the places praying hardest for a ceasefire deal. There are 36 hostages from Nir Oz still being held by Hamas in Gaza right now. As you said, Savannah, those ceasefire negotiations are continuing in Cairo. There are discrepancies between the deal Israel has agreed to, the deal Hamas says it can agree to. I'll give you just one example. Hamas says in the first phase of the deal, it is prepared to release 33 hostages from the so-called humanitarian category. So that's women, it's children, it's the elderly, it's people with serious medical conditions. But they are saying some of those hostages may be living and others may be dead bodies. And Israel is saying that is a non-starter and that in the first phase of this deal, live hostages have to come out. Guys.
Raf, let's talk about the situation in Rafah right now. Israeli troops seized the crossing there. Are people there fearful that a broader ground assault is imminent in that city? And is any aid getting in right now?
Yeah, absolutely. People are terrified. The Israeli government has been threatening for months to launch an all-out assault on the city of Rafah, where more than 1 million Palestinian civilians are sheltering. We saw waves of Israeli airstrikes followed by Israeli ground troops moving in. Israel says this is a limited operation. It's about seizing control of the Rafah crossing, and it's about putting pressure on Hamas at the negotiating table. But the Rafah crossing remains shut right now. The UN says it is absolutely critical to get it open, to get aid flowing through it once again. And at this point, there is no timeline from Israel as to when that might happen. Guys.
And Raf, a senior administration official has told NBC News that the U.S. halted a shipment of weapons to Israel over concerns about exactly this, that they would be used in Rafah. A ground invasion in the city is something, of course, that President Biden had warned against. What more are we learning about this, and could we see more shipments withheld going forward?
Yeah, potentially. So this shipment that has been put on hold is for heavy weaponry that includes 2,000-pound bombs. Those are the kinds of bombs that have caused such large-scale civilian casualties in Gaza throughout the war. The administration says it is very concerned about how those weapons might be used in Rafah, just given how densely packed it is with civilians at this point. The White House is saying it's taking this shipment by shipment, but this is the first time that it is explicitly putting one of these aid deliveries, weapons deliveries on hold. And there is a possibility that if the U.S. doesn't see further changes to the way that Israel is prosecuting this war inside of Gaza, we might see other shipments held up. Guys.
All right, Raf Sanchez, thank you very much, as always, for your reporting. Well, there's much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, getting candid with the Queen of Cable. I sit down with the Vice Chair of NBC Universal for a special edition of Women Mean Business. Up first, the royal rift. Prince Harry back in the UK, but there won't be a reunion with his father, King Charles. We will explain next. Stay with us. Welcome back. Prince Harry is back in the UK this morning attending the Invictus Games, which honors wounded troops and veterans. But the Duke of Sussex confirmed that he will not see his father, King Charles, during his visit because of the King's busy schedule. A spokesperson for the Prince released a statement saying, quote, "The Duke is, of course, understanding of his father's diary of commitments and various other priorities and hopes to see him soon." For more on this, we are joined by British royal commentator Kate Nicholl. Kate, good morning. So the last time Prince Harry was in the UK was in February when he did visit his father after he was diagnosed with cancer. We know the King recently resumed his public duties, but I mean, what can we make of this news? I think on the one hand, people are thinking, you're all the way across the pond. You're not going to see your father who's sick. I mean, that would kind of be like the normal way to handle it. But is this a sign that family tensions are running high, or is it good news that the King is just busy and back to his commitments?
Well, I think obviously this is going to sort of play into that narrative, both of the family rift and I think into Harry's sort of narrative of being increasingly an outsider within his own family. And of course, I mean, the royal family. Yes, they were only miles apart yesterday when Harry was carrying out a sort of panel talk to promote the Invictus Games, and 3 kilometres apart, you know, not far at all. And yet there was no available time in the King's diary to see Harry. The King's out on engagements today and tomorrow, and so that's going to make any meeting difficult. But I think, you know, there's always a possibility of finding a small window, and we saw that the last time that Prince Harry came over. He jetted over to the UK pretty much immediately after he heard the news of his father's cancer diagnosis. And actually at that time, the King had said, you know, stay back, let me get to Sandringham and come and see me there. But Harry was adamant that he wanted to be at Clarence House and seeing his father, and the time was made for Harry at that moment. Possibly they haven't been able to schedule that time in, but as I say, it's going to play into that that sort of narrative of a rift. And of course, this is a really important visit for Prince Harry. It's his first major trip back to the UK since the coronation, and that was a fleeting trip. I mean, he didn't actually get to spend any time with his family then. And when you consider that this is all about promoting and celebrating a decade of Invictus, which is very much Prince Harry's legacy, it feels quite sad. And I think Harry does cut a lonely figure, really hosting this event, speaking at this event later on today at St. Paul's Cathedral, without possibly a single member of his family there. We know the King won't be there, and we know that the Prince of Wales won't be there either.
Yeah, let's talk then what we think that means about Prince William's relationship. That's exactly what I wanted to ask about. I mean, again, you don't live anywhere near here. California is nowhere near the UK. And to be all the way over there, not seeing family and not having that support at these events, what do you take away from that?
Well, I think it's a very sad indication of the distance, not just geographically, as you say, one's in California, one's over here in the UK, but the emotional distance between the brothers, you know, who were once so incredibly close and who are now barely on talking terms. I mean, they really have nothing to do with each other's lives. Now, you know, a few years back, the idea that William wouldn't be by his brother's side at an important occasion like this was almost unthinkable. William was so supportive of the Invictus Games. Don't forget, both brothers served in the armed forces. And so to not, as I say, to not have any representative of the family must feel lonely and probably quite upsetting for Prince Harry, and perhaps a reminder of the reality of his situation.
Absolutely, especially also with a sister-in-law that he's quite close with, who as well has been diagnosed with cancer. Kate Nicholl, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. Let's get you more international headlines now. A Russian military expo is displaying captured Western tanks in honor of its Victory Day celebrations, they're calling it. NBC's Matt Bodmer joins us now. Hey, Matt, good morning.
Savannah, good morning. Let's kick things off today in Moscow, where the Russian military has opened a new exhibition to show off what they're calling Western trophies captured in Ukraine. These trophies may look familiar to some viewers. They are cornerstones of NATO militaries that have been given to Ukraine to fight Russia. That's an M1 Abrams tank. They also have a German equivalent of the Leopard 2, also an American Bradley and Humvee. You guys might be familiar with all of these. This is part of this year's celebration of Victory Day. That's arguably the most sacred holiday in Putin's Russia. Nominally, it's celebrated to mark Soviet victory in World War II. But under Putin, it has become essentially a cornerstone of domestic Russian propaganda. Just look at the crowds surrounding this Abrams tank. Our team in Moscow spoke to several families, and entire families. All of them were filled with glee to see what some of them described as what their boys brought back from Ukraine. So I think all of this shows that in the public space, it seems support for the war appears strong. Moving along now to South Africa, where a man is trapped beneath the rubble of a 5-story building. The man's name is Delvin Sefels, and he was on one of the lower floors of the building when it collapsed. 41 people are still unaccounted for a day later, but Sefels is known to be alive. He's texting his family and his girlfriend while rescuers struggle to reach him. Sefels has said in his texts that he is in pain, one of his arms and legs are pinned, and that it's cold and dark down there. His father, Dion, has been camped out near the rubble since Monday. He's still waiting for his son to emerge. We'll wrap up this hour in Australia, in the city of Tasmania, where the Museum of Old and New Art has gone to great lengths to keep its exhibition hall women only. The exhibition in question is called Ladies' Lounge, and it's housing some of the museum's most prized pieces. A local man has taken issue with this, and he launched a gender discrimination suit. In April, a court ordered that men be allowed inside. But the artist behind the exhibit is taking issue with the ruling and is planning to circumvent this by making the space, quote, compliant with regulations. The trick there is going to be turning the entire exhibit into a women's toilet, also possibly a church. Could work. Back to you.
That is very interesting. Matt Bonner, thank you so much. Coming up, a grim milestone in Baltimore as the final victim of that catastrophic bridge collapse is recovered. We'll have the latest on cleanup efforts. And good for the mind, what researchers are saying about a kitchen staple and the lowered risk for dementia. There's a hint on your screen. Our weekly medical checkup is next. This is Morning News Now. We are back with an update on the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. Officials say they have recovered the body of the sixth and final victim from the wreckage. This comes as officials lay out plans to use precision explosives to help free that massive container ship from under the bridge debris in this ongoing cleanup effort. NBC News reporter Julia Jester joins us now with the latest on this. Julia, good morning. Great to see you. So 6 construction workers ultimately were killed in the collapse. All have been recovered. What do we know at this point about the latest recovery? What are officials saying?
Well, good morning, Savannah. 6 weeks to the day that the Key Bridge collapsed in Baltimore, the 6th final victim was recovered, Jose Minor Lopez. He was 37 years old, originally from Guatemala, and he was part of that 8-person construction crew working on the bridge. 2 miraculously survived, 6 did not. And we heard from the superintendent of the Maryland State Police, who said in a statement that today marks a significant milestone in our recovery efforts and providing closure to the loved ones of the 6 workers who lost their lives in this tragic event. The governor of Maryland, Wes Moore, said that it is with solemn relief that he will be reunited with loved ones. And it's notable that the victims were recovered by salvage crews. The recovery effort ended long ago due to just the complexity of the safety concerns there, but the salvage crews were able to bring peace and closure to Lopez's family. Savannah.
Julia, yesterday the Unified Command in charge of the cleanup said they are preparing this controlled demolition, as I mentioned, to free this massive container ship from under the debris. What is that going to look like? When does it start? What details do we have?
Yes, Savannah. So the technical term is precision cutting charges, and they are small controlled explosives that will be detonated on the pieces of bridge atop the dolly. You can see the metal that is strewn across the bow of the ship, and lots of containers have had to be moved around in order for this to happen. The governor of Maryland noted that there are 3,000 to 4,000 tons of metal atop the ship that is preventing it from being refloated. And so what's going to happen is the crew of the dolly will shelter in place. Officials have deemed it safe for them to remain on the ship. And then small explosives will be placed and then detonated across the various parts of the bridge truss. So that way smaller pieces can then fall into the water, thus freeing the dolly ship to be refloated and get somewhere near the port of Baltimore to receive repairs and hopefully get back out to sea, Savannah.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask. Do we know what happens to the ship once it's freed? I mean, we think it's going to be possible that it eventually is going to be back in service?
Yeah, so the ship has not officially capsized. Believe it or not, the crew has been on the ship the entire time, making sure that things are running as smoothly as can be, given the conditions. I spoke with the spokesperson for the owners of the dolly ship, who said that he's unsure of the exact timeline for it to get back out to sea, but of course it will have to undergo a lot of repairs, inspections, and make sure that what happened originally does not happen again when it becomes seabound once more, Savannah.
All right, Julia Jester, thank you so much. Well, now it's time for our weekly medical checkup. There's a new study out this morning that looks at some of the myths that people believe about sun tanning. Good times since we're headed towards summer. We've also got new research showing that adding just a little olive oil to your daily diet may help prevent dementia. For more on all this and the rest of this week's health headlines that you might have missed, let's bring in NBC News medical analyst Dr. Vin Gupta. Doctor, always great to see you. Thanks for joining us. So olive oil, let's start on that one. It's a staple often recommended in the Mediterranean diet. Also, though, one of those things I think that people associate, like, is this good for you? Is it fat? But tell us what this new study suggests, because it might be actually good for our minds, which is really interesting, lowering the risk of dying from dementia. Tell us what we should know here.
Good morning, Savannah. This is a critical study because what it's showing is olive oil, actually consuming about a half teaspoon at minimum of olive oil might improve your vascular health, especially in the blood vessels in your brain. And so what does that mean? That means reduced inflammation, increased blood flow, and decreased risk of clotting in those blood vessels, which we know can predispose to the early onset dementia. Olive oil intake appears to be associated with a decreased incidence of all of those things, increased vascular health in the brain, and ultimately a decreased risk of dying from dementia. So this is something we're going to be tracking. But for all your viewers out there, sub in olive oil instead of mayonnaise or margarine. Even a half teaspoon can make the difference.
Wow, that's a really good idea, subbing it in for those things, and an easy way to do it. Okay, let's talk about this other new study. It suggests that fumes from gas and propane stoves might increase the risk for children developing asthma. How can parents protect their kids, and what should they be checking out maybe in their own home to see what type of appliances they have and what they should be keeping in mind for their kids?
You know, Savannah, I'm a pulmonologist. This is really near and dear to my heart. This is something that we've been talking more and more about. Burning of natural gas through these natural gas stoves releases nitric oxide. Unfortunately, what happens is in poorly ventilated kitchens, if you're not opening up windows or turning on that hood above that stove, that nitric oxide, if you breathe it in, can irritate the lungs, predisposed to pediatric asthma. And so if you have, and most American households have natural gas stoves, make sure you're turning on the hood, regardless of how long you might be cooking, to ventilate your kitchen, open up any windows. It's critical because this is really natural gas stoves very strongly correlated to pediatric asthma, over 50,000 cases every year.
Oh, wow. Really important stuff there. Okay, lastly, this one we teased, summer's coming. Let's talk about this new national survey. It looked at what some misconceptions are about sun protection. Let's set the record straight. What should people know about protecting themselves from harmful rays, especially maybe people who do like to go out there, get that tan. Maybe they say, hey, I'm wearing sunscreen, I'm safe. Is that safe? Tell us what we learned in this study.
Well, what we realize is that there are a lot of myths out there. People associate sun tanning and tanned skin with a healthier look. They think that hydration is the key to preventing sunburns. That's not true. Wow. You want to use an SPF 15, critical SPF 15 or higher to protect yourself. Replace and reapply every few hours. Of course, exposed skin areas, if you can cover that with clothing, great. Head coverings are critical, sunglasses, of course, but SPF 15 or higher is really important because there's a lot of myths out there, especially in younger demographics, that sun tanning is correlated to good health and that hydration is protective.
Wow, interesting. That I would not have thought that hydration one was a myth out there, but really good to know, and to know what's true and what's not actually true, what's fiction out there. Dr. Vin Gupta, thank you very much for joining us. Good to see you. Coming up, the queen of cable sharing her secret to success. Up next in a special edition of Women Mean Business, my one-on-one with the vice chair of NBC Universal about her path to the top. Stay with us. This is Morning News Now. Welcome back. FTX is back in the headlines this morning with its customers now set to get their money back and more. Big news. CNBC's Savannah Hanau joins us with that and more. Savannah, good morning.
Hey, Savannah, good morning to you. Yeah, it is big news because FTX customers are in line to recover all the money they lost in the collapse of the crypto exchange with interest. Under a new plan filed by the company's bankruptcy lawyers, nearly all of FTX's creditors and regular investors would receive cash payments equal to 118% of the assets they had stored on the exchange. That would come from assets the lawyers have pulled since FTX imploded in 2022, it will still take months for the payouts to start. Apple unveiling new versions of the iPad, the first refresh of the tablet since 2022. The iPad Pro comes in two sizes, 11 and 13 inches, and starts at $999. It will snap into a new case Apple calls the Magic Keyboard, which pairs the iPad with a keyboard and trackpad. The new iPad Air moves the front-facing camera to the longer side of the device, making it better to video conference. Now, it will be available in stores next week. And movie theaters are still seeing foot traffic well below pre-pandemic levels. Data from analytics firm Placer AI shows visits to AMC were down 65% in April versus 2019 and 50% year over year. And the declines are similar at Cinemark and Regal Cinemas. Some of the drop can be attributed to theater chains closing some locations and people still watching movies at home. The absence of new blockbusters is also taking its toll. However, moviegoers are more likely to spend on concessions and premium formats like IMAX, which are more profitable for theaters, Savannah. I know I've only been to the movies, I think, once or twice. So
wow.
In the last couple of years.
I love going to the movies.
Yeah.
There's a
I like
bunch I want to see right now. Dune 2, I still haven't seen in theaters. Fall Guy, so many. All right, Savant Challengers, that's another one. Savannah, thank you so much.
You got it.
Now to the latest edition of our series, Women Mean Business. And this is a special one. I recently got a chance to sit down with Bonnie Hammer. She's vice chair at our parent company here, NBC Universal. She's known around here as the Queen of Cable. Bonnie's career spans more than 40 years, and let me tell you, she has done it all. She started in local TV in Boston before moving into executive roles, serving as president of the Sci-Fi Network, helping to transform the WWE into an entertainment sports giant, and launching Peacock, NBC Universal's streaming platform. She also led NBC Universal's cable group to 167 Emmy nominations for hit shows like Monk, Battlestar Galactica, and Suits. Now she's sharing her secrets to success for women in the workplace with her new book, 15 Lies Women Are Told at Work and the Truth We Need to Succeed. Here's our discussion. Bonnie joins us now in studio. Bonnie, good morning. It's so good to see you.
It's great to be here.
And you're gorgeous, amazing, fantastic book. That one of the things that I love so much about having read this book is how much it applies to women at so many different stages and phases of their career. You actually segment it out like that, but I just think it's really such a feat, somebody who has been in business and is at the position that you are now in, to even speak to people early in their career. Was it important to you when you wrote this to set out for this to be a guide for women of all ages and all stages?
That's exactly right. You put it perfectly. Any age, any stage of life, that the advice in the book should help you navigate not only the workplace, but life in general. I only wish I had something like this or a person who could have helped me in my earlier years. I think it would have been so much easier to navigate the work world, especially for a woman.
No, I have to tell you, reading this, I'm like, gosh, I wish I had this 10 years ago, like just even when I was starting to be able to kind of follow it along. So this for us is this segment that we love called Women Mean Business. It's women in all different facets of business, but often in places where they are maybe out periods of time they were the only woman, and maybe still they are one of very few. If you wouldn't mind taking us back to the beginning, there's a story that you tell in this book that I really, really love. We've talked about it before, actually, in conversation, about kind of the steps that you took when you were in a position where you didn't really know what you were doing, editing something back in the beginning of your career. Tell us how you handled moments in the beginning, because you're far from that now. But what was that moment like, and what did you learn?
Well, first of all, I think it was because of a lack of confidence. I never believed in faking it. You know, the advice women get is fake it till you make it. But the truth is, the minute you are caught in a lie, if you tell something or somebody you can do something and you can't, losing that trust is so hard to get back. So for me, I always figured I had to face it till I made it. And years ago, I was working on my first television show. We were behind in production, so the director said, you need to go to LA to edit. And I'd never been on a business trip. I'd never been to Los Angeles for work. And I've never edited in my life. And I'm looking at him going, oh, my goodness, I'm in trouble. He walks in and he looks at me and says, so what you got for me? I took a deep breath and I said, I just need you to know I've never edited a piece of video in my life. I know the material. Honest. I know what we have to get to, but here I am. And he looked me straight in the eye and he said, "No worries. Thanks for being honest. I'm going to make you a star."
I'm going to make you a star. I love that part. It's such a good lesson to learn. One of the other things in here, so the whole premise here, 15 lies, you're kind of myth-busting, things we hear all the time. Follow your dreams, know your worth. One of them that I loved, especially under the banner of this series, is that it's a man's world. And you actually argue that women have what you call the XX factor.
Yes.
What is that?
Oh, yes. Is it a man's world? In a way, yes. Navigating corporate America, there are a lot of guys in there. But it's a man's world only if you let it be. What women don't understand, we have something that comes naturally, organically to us. We collaborate really well. We care about other people. We have empathy. Those inner skills and natural capabilities, when you use them in the workplace and you embrace those you're working with and for, it's incredible. And instead of trying to echo the way men work and deal with one another, if we just literally embraced our own capabilities, it's going to take you a long way. And I never felt that copying guys, the way they dress, the way they talk, the way they negotiate, was a way to get about it. Literally using my own skills, my own XX factor, got me much further, faster.
So good to hear. Well, there are so many lies that you tell the truth on in this book. You're going to have to go get it to hear the rest of them. Bonnie Hammer, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to see you, and congratulations on this book. It really is an incredible read for anybody of any age. She is just the best. It was such a treat to get to talk to her. And Bonnie's book, 15 Lies Women Are Told at Work and the Truth We Need to Succeed, is out now.
What a great discussion. All right. Coming up, a special celebration for an American hero.
Yeah, up next, one town's touching tribute to a World War II veteran on his 107th birthday. You are watching Morning News Now.
And finally, this hour, we want to bring you a birthday celebration more than a century in the making. A World War II veteran recently turned 107 years old. And while he had plenty of friends from his hometown in Wisconsin celebrating with him, it wasn't the only thing on his mind. Next month, he will head to France for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Here's Charles Benson from our sister station, WTMJ, in Milwaukee, with this amazing story.
The population in Pigeon Falls, Wisconsin is 381. But there's no one here or in the state like Reynolds Tomter.
Well, here we go again, ready or not.
Reynolds is ready. He has been all his life.
Happy birthday, youngster.
It's been a lot of fun.
Spend a few minutes with this Merchant Marine World War II veteran, and you'll want more.
Gosh, good to see you, Dave.
He's the persona of gratitude.
I'm blessed. I got friends. I'm so blessed, thankful.
With the personality of a late-night talk show host.
Yeah, I'm experiencing a new thing. I've never been this old before.
With jokes like that, why wouldn't you want to be?
It's because I'm so damn old.
At a packed Knotty Pine bar in northwest Wisconsin at 7:30 in the morning to celebrate another milestone for Reynolds.
Oh, how nice. Wow.
But Reynolds is about to have a wow moment, unlike any in his life.
You know, I'm going to Normandy.
I hear. From his home, where he lives on his own and still drives, Reynolds talks about being invited to the 80th anniversary of D-Day in Normandy.
I'm lucky to have a chance to go there like I am having. But I never feel at all like I've earned it. And I haven't done anything more than any other GI.
We sit at a small table surrounded by his Merchant Marine medals and a memory that would amaze anyone.
I bet you can still fit in the uniform.
No, I don't think so.
He is believed to be the oldest living World War II Merchant Marine in the country. As the ship's baker and backup gunner, he was on 5 Atlantic crossings with one mission: get the supplies to the troops.
Ammo, tanks, cannons, whatever the area needed. You've been assigned a job and you better damn well pitch in and do it.
He did his job, but after the war was over, Reynolds and mariners were not given veteran status and access to benefits. It stung.
When I got home again, there was no GI benefits of any kind. and that hurt.
Decades later, that hurt would be healed when they finally received full veteran status. Then, in 2022, Reynolds and Merchant Marines were given the Congressional Gold Medal for their service in World War II.
We're really being recognized now.
Wherever he goes these days, people ask him about the upcoming trip to France.
I haven't earned anything to go to France, but the only thing that did it is because I'm so damn old.
He is so old, there were 2 parties for him and more one-liners.
I've been drinking coffee for 105 years.
Another good one that keeps him going.
What's the secret to your longevity?
Well, I'll have to say maybe a lot of luck.
Luck?
I've always had a positive attitude.
It has served him well. And when the time comes to honor him and the other World War II veterans in Normandy, Reynolds will be ready.
Those people changed the world. All right, our thanks to Charles Benson for that touching story. That does it for this hour of Morning News Now. The news continues right now. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Christine Romans. Savannah will join us in just a moment. Right now on Morning News Now, a major legal win for former President Trump. This morning, the judge in that classified documents probe in Florida postponing the trial indefinitely. Meanwhile, back here in New York, adult film star Stormy Daniels providing graphic testimony in Mr. Trump's separate ongoing hush money case. More on that coming up. Cut off. Developing overnight, the White House now confirming it halted a massive shipment of bombs and other weapons to Israel on fears that they might be used in that escalating offensive in Rafah. It comes as President Biden forcefully condemns what he calls a ferocious surge of anti-Semitism in America as those heated college protests become a political flashpoint. We're covering all of it. We're also tracking those dangerous severe storms that are sweeping across the country. This morning, overnight, Michigan's governor declaring the state's first ever state of emergency due to a tornado. And all the wild weather isn't calming down anytime soon. Our Michelle Grossman is watching it all in just a moment. Plus, the caffeine controversy that now has one major fast casual chain pulling back on a viral menu item. We begin this hour with former President Donald Trump's dueling courtroom dramas. Here in New York, adult film actress Stormy Daniels expected back on the stand tomorrow. She testified yesterday in the former president's ongoing criminal hush money trial. At times, her testimony was so salacious, the judge said he was surprised there weren't more objections. Meanwhile, a legal victory for the former president in his federal trial in Florida. Yesterday, a judge placing that case related to classified documents found in his Mar-a-Lago estate on hold indefinitely. NBC's senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett is following it all for us. Laura, good morning.
Hey there, good morning. The courtroom was captivated from almost the first minute that the prosecution announced the people call Stormy Daniels. Her testimony at times graphic, uncomfortable, combative. The judge repeatedly reminding her to keep her answers short, but the details kept coming.
Former President Donald Trump finally coming face to face with the woman at the center of his criminal trial, Stormy Daniels. The adult film actress recounting in explicit detail her story of an alleged sexual encounter with Mr. Trump back in 2006, a story he vehemently denies, but prosecutors allege would have been catastrophic had it come to light before the 2016 election, charging him for doctoring his internal business records to hide how she was ultimately paid off.
Mr. Trump, how's it going in there? Did Stormy pay you?
Daniels speaking quickly, testifying she was invited to a massive hotel suite in Lake Tahoe, recalling everything from the giant flower arrangement to the Pert Plus she says was in Mr. Trump's toiletry kit. He said, "You remind me of my daughter because she is smart and blonde and beautiful, and people underestimate her as well. It's there," she says, they had sex after a celebrity golf tournament when she was 27 years old, telling the jury, "I blacked out," adding, "There was an imbalance of power for sure, but I was not threatened." Daniels recounting other intimate details, testifying Mr. Trump told her that he and his wife Melania slept in separate beds. The tension in the courtroom not lost on the judge, who agreed some parts of Daniels' testimony was probably better left unsaid, but warning Mr. Trump's attorneys during one of several sidebars, quote, "I understand that your client is upset, but he is cursing audibly and shaking his head visually. I won't tolerate that." The defense request for a mistrial denied on the spot, leading to a heated cross-examination as Mr. Trump's lawyer tried to cast doubt on a story Daniels has told previously of an unknown man threatening her in 2011.
And a guy walked up on me and said to me, "Leave Trump alone, forget the story." And then he leaned around and looked at my daughter and said, "It's a beautiful little girl. It'd be a shame if something happened to her mom."
Mr. Trump's attorney also questioning her motives now, asking, "Am I correct that you hate President Trump?" To which Daniels quickly replied, "Yes."
And as if all of that wasn't surreal enough, New York City's Mayor Eric Adams told reporters yesterday city officials have discussed the eventual possibility of the former president of the United States being jailed for violations of his gag order, saying the Department of Corrections is, quote, prepared for whatever comes on Rikers Island. Back to you.
All right, Laura, thank you so much. For more, we are joined now by NBC News legal analyst Angela Sanadella. Nice to see you this morning. So if you're the prosecutor, how are you feeling this morning about Stormy Daniels' testimony?
Well, look, I think it was very easy to expect that this testimony would have fully just demonized Donald Trump. And I do think it did to a large degree. I think it's impossible the jury didn't think at some points, wow, this is a disgusting individual who very possibly could have had the criminal intent to complete these crimes. At the same time, though, there is the outside shot that with the cross, it appears that Stormy might not be credible, on top of which it's possible that Trump might have even emerged a bit of a victim here. It really depends on the jury's own emotions. Right. Even though you're supposed to distance them, that's always what comes into play.
And we know the jury was watching like a tennis match. One of our reporters said back and forth what was happening there. Let's talk about the cross-examination. You mentioned this. Trump's lawyers clearly trying to make it look like Stormy Daniels has an axe to grind. That's a strategy there? Was that tactic effective?
I think it was. I think any time that you can get up on that stand and that you can show that the witness possibly has outside motivations, you've made a lot of leeway in attacking that witness's credibility. And I think here it had nothing to do really with her profession, with her adult film profession in this industry. But it was more that first she had denied it and then she admitted to it. It's that she owed $500,000 and was willing to entirely ignore the court order to have to pay it. So that then leaves the question of, well, is she even telling the truth? Does she feel that she has to abide by this oath of telling the truth on the stand? So the fact that she said she hates Trump is something the defense will use continuously. And they will also use that when they get Michael Cohen on the stand to also cross there and say, well, what is the deal here if all these witnesses hate the former president?
Trump's lawyers asked the judge for a mistrial after her testimony. It was denied by the judge ultimately. But what do you think? Walk us through that part of the story.
Yeah, so look, the defense never really expected that they were going to get this mistrial granted, but it's something they had to do in order to show that they were pushing back. But also note that the judge was almost surprised they didn't object enough, that Stormy did really veer off course there, but the defense seemed to not object. So it's almost like they could have done even more. But in asking for the mistrial, they were sending a message. They were also setting the record up for a possible appeal. Right. But, you know, it wasn't effective, and nobody expected it to be.
Angela Sanadella, thank you so much. A lot going on. They're not in the court today, right?
No, but tomorrow she's
we're
back on.
All right, nice to see you. Thank you. Right, Gaza ceasefire talks are resuming in Cairo this morning. That's one day after Israeli troops captured the Palestinian side of the Rafah crossing in a move many fear could be the start of a broader ground assault. It comes after a senior administration official told NBC News that the U.S. halted a shipment of bombs to Israel last week over concerns they could be used in Rafah. NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez has the latest.
Hey there, we're in Kibbutz Nir Oz. It's one of the communities overrun by Hamas on October 7th, and today it is one of the places praying hardest for a ceasefire deal. There are still 36 hostages from Nir Oz being held in Gaza, but while ceasefire negotiations continue in Cairo, there are new tensions between the U.S. and Israel.
This morning, President Biden sending a message. As Israel's military continues its operation in Rafah, a senior administration official saying the White House stepped in to pause a shipment of arms to Israel out of concern about the possible invasion. The shipment, which was delayed last week, included heavy weaponry like 2,000-pound bombs. The U.S. worried those weapons would be used in Rafah, where over 1 million civilians are sheltering. The official saying Israel has still not addressed its concerns about a military operation there.
We will continue to make clear that we oppose a major military operation in Rafah, make that clear then privately as well as publicly.
The Rafah crossing from Egypt, a vital lifeline for humanitarian aid, remains shut. And Israeli strikes in the area continue. Residents sifting through rubble. They said this was a safe area, this man says. There is no safe place in Gaza. Where to go? Throw ourselves in the sea? Israel says Hamas is hiding among civilians in the area, but it's continuing negotiations for the release of hostages. As pressure grows inside Israel, the CIA director involved in the talks. Israel says the latest proposal agreed to by Hamas, which would involve a full withdrawal from Gaza, doesn't meet its security needs. But still considering a deal as tensions build over Rafah.
Now, Israel saying today it's reopened Kerem Shalom, one of the other crossings into Gaza. The Palestinians are saying at this point no aid trucks have made it through there, but the Rafah crossing remains closed. The UN is saying it is critical to get it open once again, and Israel at this point giving no timeline for when that might happen. Back to you.
All right, Raf, thanks so much. President Biden denounced anti-Semitic incidents that have broken out since the Israel-Hamas war yesterday. Speaking at a Holocaust remembrance ceremony, the president said, quote, "There is no place on any campus in America for anti-Semitism or hate speech." NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz is at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles with the latest. Liz, good morning.
Hey, Christine, good morning to you. That's right. Here at USC, the scaled back graduation ceremonies and activities are beginning to get underway today after the major commencement graduation ceremony was canceled, scheduled for this Friday because of those demonstrations. The university here, one of dozens nationwide grappling with these anti-war protests, with administrators trying to diffuse tensions as President Biden now weighs in.
This morning, after a major speech from President Biden in Washington on the chaos consuming college campuses, clashes at one of those schools less than 2 miles away. D.C. police moving in to clear a pro-Palestinian encampment at George Washington University. The crowd resisting as police say this morning there's been an escalation in volatility in the protest, using pepper spray while pushing back the demonstration around campus. It comes after President Biden's address about the rising tensions nationwide at the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum's Day of Remembrance ceremony yesterday. The president defending students' rights to protest the war in Gaza.
In America, we respect and protect the fundamental right to free speech.
But 7 months after the October 7th attacks in Israel, the president drawing a hard line at what he says is a ferocious surge in anti-Semitism, including on some campuses.
But there is no place on any campus in America, any place in America, for anti-Semitism or hate speech or threats of violence of any kind. To the Jewish community, I want you to know, I see your fear, your hurt, and your pain. Let me reassure you, as your president, you're not alone.
The campus chaos reaching beyond Washington. Protesters and police facing off at the University of Chicago and overnight at UMass Amherst. Meanwhile, at Arizona State University,
you're disrespecting my religion.
Why are you wearing a mask? What does this have to do with religion? You're spewing hate. What does this have to do with religion?
administrators are investigating this nearly minute-long video of, they say, faculty member Jonathan Udelman appearing to harass a woman wearing a headscarf Sunday. It's unclear what happened immediately before or after that recording was made. ASU saying he's been placed on leave pending the outcome of that investigation.
Now, the U.S. Education Secretary is also now weighing in on these college protests, saying yesterday that students who break the law should be held to account. Meanwhile, here at USC, as these graduation activities get underway, the campus is essentially on lockdown here. Security's been ramped up. Students have to scan their ID badges and at times even have their bags checked just to get on campus. Christine?
Wow, Liz, thanks so much for that. A massive cleanup is underway in the Midwest after a powerful storm system produced several tornadoes, leaving a trail of destruction in multiple states. NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa is in western Michigan in the hard-hit city of Portage and joins us now with the latest. Maggie, good morning.
Hey, Christine, good morning. Yeah, we've been covering a lot of tornado damage, especially recently, as you point out. And this is intense behind me, but I've got to tell you, I have never seen anything like this. Look at this house. It's frankly upside down. It was flipped completely off its foundation by this latest round of tornadoes. We're still waiting on information as to whether anyone was inside this house when this happened. Local officials say close to a dozen people were treated at area hospitals for injuries. And again, just what's this latest round of severe spring storms?
It was mayhem in the Midwest after yet another round of destructive storms tore through the region.
That's a tornado, large tornado, right here, in view.
Multiple reported tornadoes touching down in Michigan late Tuesday, sending terrified residents fleeing for cover.
We need to go to the basement. Grab the dogs.
In Portage, Michigan, a fast-moving funnel ripping apart this FedEx shipment center, trapping close to 50 people inside for hours. The company telling NBC News no one was seriously hurt.
The city's been decimated by the tornado.
Nearby, in another part of the city, mobile homes obliterated.
Anybody in here?
One house completely flipped off its foundation. Neighbors rushing to help neighbors.
You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. All right.
As rescue crews assess the damage here, more nighttime storms spawned across the Midwest. All of it less than 24 hours after more than 24 tornadoes pounded the plains on Monday. This massive twister, now rated an EF4, taking a fatal turn in Barnesdale, Oklahoma.
Everywhere around me, it's a war zone. It's all gone.
The intense system completely flattening houses and toppling trucks in the small community. In nearby Bartlesville, visitors forced to hunker down in hotel rooms.
We all just went running and the windows popped out of the hallways.
Now, as the cleanup gets underway, the devastating storms are barreling east, with millions more in their path. And back here in Michigan, a huge concern on the ground is down power and gas lines. So authorities are asking anyone not, frankly, in immediate danger to basically stay inside their houses while crews and first responders get to those who are actually in need. And no surprise, Christine, based on damage and scenes like this, they need all the help they can get navigating around this.
Yeah, any reports of major injuries?
No reports of any major injuries or deaths here.
Good,
thank you.
Good. All right, Maggie, thank you so much for that. And meteorologist Michelle Grossman is here with what we can expect in the coming days. Just the storm track continues.
It does, yeah. We're going to expect more of the same, especially today and tomorrow, and then a little quieter on Friday. Still could see some strong storms, but not like today, tomorrow. So looking at the rest of today, we're looking at the main weather headlines still being the threat for severe storms. That would be later on this afternoon into the evening hours. We had storms all night long into the morning hours, a little quieter at this hour, but that's going to ramp up once we get that daytime heating going. Off to the west, so big difference in the temperatures. The story there, we're looking at spring snow in the Rockies. That's in the highest elevations of the Rockies. The lower elevations, we're looking at some rain, windy in portions of the west, a fire risk in the southwest. That's because of really low humidity. The wind is there, dry vegetation. So we're going to watch that throughout the afternoon. And then another big weather headline, a summer preview in portions of the Gulf into the east. Temperatures into the 80s in New York City today. The Gulf Coast, we're looking at temperatures into the 90s, and we could see some record-breaking temperatures there. So let's start with the severe weather story, because all the ingredients are there once again for a significant severe weather outbreak. Once again, this has been day after day after day. This is why we have this area of low pressure, kind of storms coming in after each other. We have tropical moisture moving in. That's really warm, humid, unstable air, especially when you get that daytime heating going. It makes it more unstable, destabilizes the air. Then we have the jet stream. Think of this as a conveyor belt at the grocery stores, right? A bundle of winds just moving really fast. Once you get the twist and you get the warm air from the bottom, cooler air from the top, they twist. That's when you get the tornadoes, and that's why we're concerned about another tornado severe weather risk as we go throughout the afternoon. So for today, 56 million people under the gun for severe weather, especially where you see the yellow, the red, the orange. West Plains to Nashville, we're looking at a moderate risk. That is pretty high on the scale there. Also in the orange, so Knoxville, Louisville, St. Louis, Shreveport, and also the same areas that have been seeing this weather. Waco, Dallas, Austin could see some strong storms. We're looking at the chance for strong tornadoes, EF2 or greater, especially where you see that moderate risk. Very large hail to giant hail, could be softball-sized hail. That causes damage on its own, almost hard to wrap your head around that. We're also looking at damaging winds over 60 miles per hour. The greatest chance for those stronger storms, EF2 or greater, would be in that hatched area where you kind of see that pink there. So St. Louis to Springfield, Poplar Bluff, Dyersburg, Nashville, Bowling Green. You need to stay weather aware today. If you have tornado warnings, you want to heed the warnings. Good idea to get into your basement. If you don't have a basement, get into the lower level of your house. Any interior rooms like a powder room, a closet would be a good idea as well. Then by tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms into the northeast, severe storms from Texas to the mid-Atlantic. Another stormy day tomorrow. We're looking at enhanced risk in portions of central and eastern Texas. So Dallas, once again, dealing with the threat for strong storms. Could see some very large hail once again and could see winds gusting over 60 miles per hour. This is what it looks like right now. I mentioned that it's simmering down a bit, but we still have activity out there. We have severe thunderstorm warnings. We have a severe thunderstorm watch. That's where you see the yellow box. The orange boxes are severe thunderstorm warnings. So we're seeing lightning this morning. We're hearing the thunder getting off to school and work on your Wednesday. 12 million impacted by flood watches because we're looking at 1 to 3 inches per hour in some of these storms. These grounds are so saturated from the storms that we had, so any additional rain could cause some flooding and some flash flooding.
All right, here we go again. Michelle, thank you so much.
Sure.
More to come on this hour of Morning News Now, including a royal return. Prince Harry is back in the UK this morning, but there won't be a reunion with his father, King Charles. But first, after the break, an arrest in the case of a missing Florida woman who disappeared abroad. The new charges her husband now faces.
Welcome back. An arrest has been made in the search for a missing Florida woman who disappeared earlier this year in Spain. As NBC News correspondent Priya Sridhar explains, the woman's husband is now in federal custody and facing charges.
36-year-old David Kuzanovich behind bars, arrested by federal authorities at Miami International Airport in connection to the disappearance of his wife. Court documents revealing the trail they followed that led to the arrest. 3 months after Ana Maria Kuzanovich vanished from her apartment in Madrid, Spain, where she had moved for a fresh start while the couple was going through a divorce, according to an FBI affidavit. On February 3rd, she was reported missing by 2 friends who received these suspicious texts from her phone saying she was running away with a man she had just met.
I tried to respond saying that I got worried about her, like it didn't sound safe, like what is she talking about, like this makes no sense, and my messages didn't go through.
According to the affidavit, David Kuzanovich sent those texts to a woman he was dating, asking her to translate them into Spanish the same day they were sent from his wife's phone. FBI agents say the day before those texts were sent, a man who resembled David Kuzanovich was captured on surveillance video outside his wife's apartment. Ana Maria's friend who reported the disappearance, detailing what investigators say the video shows.
A man with a helmet sprayed the surveillance cameras on the directory outside of her apartment building and waited for 2 people to leave the building and took the opportunity to go inside.
Police say Kuzanovich purchased the same brand of spray paint and duct tape just hours earlier. David Kuzanovich's lawyer has maintained his client was in his home country of Serbia the day Ana Maria went missing. He has not responded to NBC's request for comment since the arrest. In the affidavit, FBI agents say David Kuzanovich rented a car in the Serbian capital of Belgrade 4 days before Ana Maria went missing and returned it weeks later with the license plates replaced and the windows tinted, having driven it more than 4,700 miles.
That was Priya Sridhar reporting. The husband is being charged with kidnapping and his next court appearance is set for Friday.
Prince Harry is back in London this morning to mark 10 years of the sporting event for injured troops and veterans, which he founded. However, he's not seeing his father, King Charles, while he is across the pond. NBC News international correspondent Kelly Cobiella joins us now from Buckingham Palace with the latest. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning, Christine. Yeah, Prince Harry has a pretty packed schedule for this very short trip to the UK, and his father, King Charles, is busy as well. So busy, according to a spokesperson for the Sussexes, that there's simply no time to meet up. This morning, Prince Harry back in the UK on his own mission, touching down solo Tuesday afternoon to celebrate a decade of the Invictus Games he helped to create.
It's our birthday at Invictus Games Foundation, and we're all very excited and thrilled.
But not reuniting with his father, King Charles. A Sussex spokesperson saying, unfortunately, a meeting won't be possible because of the King's busy schedule. The statement adding, the Duke is understanding of his father's diary of commitments and various other priorities and hopes to see him soon. The father and son at separate events just over 3 miles apart Tuesday. Buckingham Palace isn't commenting on Harry's visit, but hours before he arrived, announced the king will make Prince William Colonel-in-Chief of Prince Harry's old regiment at a joint ceremony next week.
In some ways, that will be bittersweet. That will cement in many people's minds that while some relationships within the royal family are still very difficult, the main relationship between the heir and the monarch, between William and Charles, is stronger than ever.
Gun salutes marked a year since the coronation of King Charles and Queen Camilla Monday. Back then, Harry attended alone, and the Duke of Sussex briefly visiting his father in February after the king's cancer diagnosis was made public. Harry and Meghan wished health and healing for Princess Kate after her preventative cancer treatment announcement, but no outward sign of a brotherly reconciliation on this trip. A stark difference from the first Invictus Games 10 years ago. But Harry always focused on the mission of the Games, speaking with Hoda in 2022.
Every single Games that I go to, it feels amazing that we've managed to play a part in their recovery.
The Sussexes continue to follow their own path in California. The family celebrating their son Prince Archie's 5th birthday privately Monday, after William and Kate marked Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis's birthdays in April and May with new pictures of the young royals. And the next potential opportunity for a family reunion is in mid-June, the King's official birthday parade, the Trooping the Color. But it's not clear who's invited. We don't have a guest list yet. We don't even know who among the royal family living here will be attending that event, or what role the King himself will play on that day, whether he'll be well enough to ride horseback in his official birthday parade. For now, Meghan and Harry really concentrating on that next trip coming up as they're meeting up together in Nigeria, again, to continue promoting and drumming up support for the Invictus Games. Christine.
All right, Kelly, thank you so much.
Let's get you more headlines from around the world this morning. 2 arrests have been made in connection to an alleged assassination plot of Ukraine's president.
NBC's Matt Bodner joins us now with more on that. Good morning, Matt.
Savannah, good morning. Let's kick things off this hour in Ukraine, where authorities yesterday said they've arrested 2 officers from the Ukrainian Secret Service for plotting to assassinate President Volodymyr Zelensky. According to the Ukrainian security services, the 2 men were planning to kill Zelensky and other Ukrainian leaders as a, quote, gift to Russian President Vladimir Putin for his inauguration. That, of course, took place yesterday in the Kremlin. The 2 men held the rank of colonels, and the state security service says they were recruited by Russia's federal security service, that would be the FSB, and they were tasked with providing the FSB with information on Zelensky's movements and to also recruit others who could help assassinate him. Moving along now to Serbia, where Chinese President Xi Jinping has been welcomed to the capital city of Belgrade with a red carpet procession. The road from the airport into Belgrade was also adorned with red flags to emphasize the point, that point being that Serbia has an ironclad friendship with China. Serbia is the second of 2 stops on Xi's European tour. First, he visited France and met with President Macron there. Macron, interestingly, has become in recent weeks one of the strongest Western voices calling for more to be done to support Ukraine against Russia. Russia, of course, a Chinese ally. Serbia is not a member of the EU or NATO, and the Serbian public tends to actually oppose these Western organizations. Xi will wrap up his visit in Hungary. Now, that is a NATO and EU member, but like Serbia, the public and the leadership tends to be a little more skeptical of the West, especially in recent years, and friendly to Russia. We'll wrap up this hour in Paris, where a 1986 World Cup trophy has resurfaced after going missing for decades. The trophy itself is special as it belonged to one of the greatest to ever play the game. That'd be Argentina's Diego Maradona, who led his team to win the Cup in Mexico City that year. In the previous game, he scored an infamous goal, remembered today as the, quote, hand of God, in which he may or may not have used a hand during a header. Maradona died in 2020 at the age of 60, but he actually parted with that trophy many, many years earlier. It actually disappeared not long after it was given to him. Speculation has, of course, been rampant over the years as to what happened. Some of the speculation highlighting Maradona's colorful character. Leading theories include a wild poker game or the cup being sold off to pay debts.
Wow.
Back to you guys.
That is so neat. Matt, thank you so much. All right, coming up, losing charge.
Right, after the break, why Panera Bread is now phasing out that viral charged lemonade and the health concerns over its big jolt of caffeine. That's next on Morning News Now.
Welcome back. The Boy Scouts of America is changing its name in an effort to be more inclusive. The organization will now go by Scouting America. The CEO says the move is part of their commitment to make every youth and family feel welcome. It comes as the group has become more inclusive of LGBTQ members and leaders in recent years and began accepting girls in 2017. The rebrand is set to take effect in February of 2025 in time for the organization's 115th birthday.
Adding fluoride to public drinking water to reduce tooth decay has been described by the Centers for Disease Control as one of the most important advances of the 20th century. But now fluoridation programs are increasingly becoming one of the latest fronts in the culture wars. NBC News correspondent Erin McLaughlin has the details.
Scrub, scrub, scrub. Ready?
Abby Udi Smith is extra careful about brushing her son Teddy's teeth now that her local tap water no longer contains fluoride. After community members in Union County, North Carolina, came forward to express concerns, the county commission voted 3-2 to remove it.
I didn't even know that there was a fight against fluoride.
Teddy, are you ready to come back?
She's now scrambling to figure out what to do next for her two small children.
We're going to have to talk about possibly supplementing.
Dentist Meg Lockery is alarmed. She says fluoride, a naturally occurring mineral, should be added to public water to help develop strong teeth, especially for small children and those without access to a dentist. Toothpaste with fluoride, she says, is not enough because the fluoride needs to be ingested.
We know that fluoride works. All the journal articles have shown that there's a 25% reduction in children and adult decay for people that are in community fluoridated water.
Despite being the norm for decades in local debates, the nationwide fight over fluoride in water is reaching new heights in the wake of COVID and the anti-vax movement, pitting dentists like Lockery
I hope you consider leaving the fluoride in the water for the most vulnerable of our population
against activists.
How long can our society bear the cost of knowingly lowering our population's IQ?
In Union County, the debate erupted when officials prepared to open a new water treatment plant. The local chair of the right-wing political group Moms for Liberty pointed to a controversial 2019 Canadian study that showed slightly lower IQ scores in children whose mothers had higher levels of fluoride exposure during pregnancy, though the study's author acknowledges more research is needed.
Fluoride is actually the one substance that we add to our water that's not meant to address the quality of the water.
County Commissioner Brian Helms voted to remove fluoride.
By putting a substance that's meant for, a medicinal type benefit into our water, it brings up a significant question about consent.
Major health organizations, including the CDC, the American Dental Association, and the American Academy of Pediatrics, support fluoride in drinking water. But it's been rejected by dozens of communities throughout the U.S. in recent years, with activists determined to press further.
The public is starting to become more aware and less blindly trusting of authorities.
So is your goal to remove fluoride from public water sources nationwide?
Absolutely. Yes.
Leaving parents like Abby Udi Smith increasingly worried about the long-term impact of her tap water.
It definitely will mean more avid teeth brushing and just keeping up on dentist appointments.
Erin McLaughlin, NBC News, Union County, North Carolina.
Well, Panera Bread is making big changes to its menu this morning. The restaurant chain now says it is phasing out its charged lemonade drinks from menus nationwide. Panera has faced several lawsuits in the past year blaming the highly caffeinated drinks for at least 2 deaths.
A spokesperson for Panera Bread says that the discontinuation of the drink comes after a so-called menu transformation. Panera started warning customers to drink the charged lemonade in moderation once NBC News broke the news of the first lawsuit last October.
Here with us is Dr. Natalie Azar, NBC News medical contributor and friend of the show, of course. Okay, doctor, so just walk us through exactly how much caffeine were in these, how bad that is for you, how much it compares to just, something, a Monster, a Red Bull that you'd go buy at the store.
Yeah, so we were actually just doing some tallies with some Celsius and things like this backstage. So Panera Bread says basically that the caffeine content in their drinks are anywhere between 155 milligrams to 302 milligrams, depending on the flavor, the size, etc. How does that compare with what we are allowed based on what the FDA's recommendations? basically up to 400 milligrams a day is considered a safe amount of caffeine. That would equal about 4 to 5 cups of coffee, regular cups of coffee. We're not talking about Starbucks espresso,
which is quite a lot, by the way. Most people aren't having 4 to 5 cups.
Exactly. And, so certain other energy drinks will contain like 130 milligrams or 160 milligrams. The whole point of this is that this is basically on the consumer's responsibility to understand the caffeine content of what they are drinking. And as we were talking about before, these are drinks that you can go up and refill.
They just look like a fruity drink. I mean, if you don't know that it's
charged lemonade is even on that sign.
If you don't know that it's got so much caffeine in it, you would think it was just a fruity drink. You know, Panera responded to that second lawsuit saying it was the customer's, quote, unfortunate passing was not caused by one of the company's products. What else are they saying about this?
You know, I mean, I think at the end of the day, Panera Bread is doing the right thing by removing the product from from the counter so that it is no longer available to consumers who, unfortunately, in many cases are unable to figure out for themselves what the caffeine content is. You know, I leave it up to they're being sued, obviously, and so this is going to play out in the courts to see exactly how they're planning on defending themselves. I'm sure they will try to, perhaps say that there were underlying medical conditions that could predispose individuals, to having an adverse outcome from this kind of caffeine intake. But it's touchy, Christine.
I'm surprised it took them so long to pull it, to be honest.
Completely
we've been talking about it for so long.
It feels like it's been quite a while, and to the point of us saying, hey, it just looks like a normal fruity drink. Actually, one of the women who died, her name's Sarah Katz, her friend had said, I don't even think she realized that there was caffeine in this. Maybe she just thought it was a fruity drink.
Right.
For consumers who, like, let's say this goes away, this isn't in your local Panera anymore, but if this has you thinking about how much caffeine you should be consuming, what should we be thinking about and how carefully should we be watching that?
You know, so a lot of restaurants and chains have the nutritional content of their foods on their websites. And so I think that now that this has become something that has been in the news and people have an awareness about it, if you are someone who consumes these kinds of drinks at fast food chains and restaurants, you really need to do your due diligence to try to figure out exactly what the caffeine content is of these drinks. If it is not, displayed where you can see it when you're walking into the store. That's probably the most important thing. And I think that a lot of these restaurants and fast food chains are probably going to make some adjustments and have some more, more things there that are advertising exactly what is in the drink that they are selling so that the consumer can make an educated decision for themselves.
What happens when you have so much caffeine? My teenagers and, young teenagers, their friends drink stuff like this, and I keep saying, you just need to drink water. Can you tell me what happens when you have too much caffeine?
Well, and here's the thing, and you bring up a good point, Christine. You know, the American Academy of Pediatrics really doesn't want teenagers drinking caffeine in the first place. So that's number one. Those sporty drinks, a lot of sugar, a lot of caffeine. We want them drinking water. But look, mild side effects from too much caffeine, insomnia, irritability, some, a high heart rate, even headache, nausea, vomiting. But the more serious, what we call caffeine toxicity, can happen. And that can lead up seizures, as was the case, I believe, in one of those cases. It can cause renal failure. I mean, we're talking potentially life-threatening outcomes. So take-home message. Caffeine can be quite good for us. We all need it. We all need it. We all
like it.
Very often, most of us think that we need it, and it's okay to drink it in moderation. But if you're feeling and you kind of need that pick-me-up, think about chewing gum, doing some jumping jacks, eating a whole grain snack. Those are the kinds of things that you can also do as a substitute for ingesting caffeine throughout the day.
I'm going to clip this segment and text it to my children today.
Yeah, gotta be careful.
It's really good advice. Dr. Azar, always good to see you. Thank you.
All right, coming up, spaving. Ever heard of it? It's a big retail trend that has many Americans spending more, thinking they're saving more, and it's really digging into our wallets. I've got a closer look right after the break.
Can't wait to hear about that one and not tell my husband about it. First, TikTok now firing back, though, against that potential ban with a brand new lawsuit against the federal government. I'll dig into what it means for the app's future in America. That's all up next. Welcome back. Well, it is official. TikTok is suing the U.S. government over its bid to ban the social media app if it doesn't find a buyer in the next year. TikTok's lawyers call the potential ban unconstitutional, and they say it's actually impossible to separate TikTok from its Chinese parent company. Take a look.
This morning, TikTok taking on the U.S. government.
Can I just say, on behalf of all of us, thank you.
The social media giant suing to block a nationwide ban it called obviously unconstitutional.
The bill is passed.
Legislation signed into law last month would force Chinese parent company ByteDance to sell TikTok within a year or see it banned in the U.S. The company's CEO vowed to fight back.
We aren't going anywhere. We are confident and we will keep fighting for your rights in the courts.
TikTok and ByteDance arguing the law's requirement to divest disregarded less extreme alternatives and is simply not possible, not commercially, not technologically, not legally. Going on to say the Chinese government has made it clear it would not permit a divestment. Lawyers also arguing that TikTok is protected under the First Amendment's guarantee of freedom of expression.
Do you think there's a chance here that TikTok successfully challenges this?
I think TikTok has a chance, and if they can articulate that their First Amendment rights are being denied, then the government may have to show that the legislation was necessary to achieve a compelling interest. That's a really difficult test to satisfy.
But lawmakers have argued the app is a threat to national security, causing concern over the safety of American data. Democratic Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy co-sponsored the bill in the House.
There's no First Amendment right to espionage. There's no First Amendment right to harm our national security. The United States government's efforts to work with them over a period of years to try to mitigate those threats did not work.
With a long legal battle still ahead, users making their voices heard in support of their go-to platform.
I feel like leave TikTok alone. That's just my 2 cents.
All right, so the next steps here, well, it could take months. We're most likely going to see a motion to dismiss by the government to try to just throw this case out entirely. But many expect that if it does go forward, which is likely, whoever loses this would appeal it, which would head to the Supreme Court. All right, now Christine's going to tell us, have you ever heard of spaving? It's a form of impulse buying that's sweeping the nation and cleaning out our wallets in the process.
And I'm right here to tell you what it is. What in the world is spaving? It's so interesting. It's spending money to save money. It's this idea that the algorithms and the big retailers, they lure you in with buy one, get one for half off, right? You're like, oh, well, I'm saving money. I'm saving money on the second one. No, you're spending money. That's spaving. That's not saving money. That's spending money you wouldn't otherwise. Free shipping if you buy $150 worth of product. You're at $120 in your cart. Oh, I'll save money if I buy one more thing. No, you're spending money. That's what spaving is.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the, that's kind of like girl math, right? Where we're like, oh, okay, it's free. I returned it, so I made money. That's when I'm always like, oh, I got money back.
It's so interesting. I mean, one of the things to remember is that there's an entire very smart tech database out there that knows what you like, where you've been shopping, and knows how to reach out to you to get you to spend more money. And you have to really remember to think of it as spending money, not saving money. Look, so buy one, get one. There's a lot of flash sale, limited time. You get all of a sudden you get a notice. There's only 5 of these. We saw you watching this. You had your eye on this. There's 5 left. Get it now, and we'll give you 10% off. And you think, oh, I've saved 10%. Right. No. You have just spent money. You haven't saved money. So it's this whole kind of upside down way that we think as American consumers that we are, when we are spending, we are saving. And those are 2 different things. Spending money is spending money. Saving money is saving money. And you want to always make sure you have a budget, that you are not spending more than you earn. There's a really interesting stat we found here that actual impulse buying over the past few years has been rising from $180 a month to more than $200 a month, which I think is pretty interesting. Look at that. By 2022, that's $340 per month. Right. Think of how much money that is a year on impulse buys that you're saving. All of that impulse buy, just my 2 cents, my personal finance hat, that should be going into a high-yield savings account or into investments, right?
This whole week while you're here with me, I'd like you to have your personal finance hat.
I know, and let's look at your 401k, make sure you have the right asset allocation.
And also, though, people need to be careful, right? I mean, generally, but also when it comes to these things like spaving and you think you're getting this deal about debt. I mean, we've seen such people putting so much on credit cards, people doing these buy now, pay later, all these different plans. What should people keep in mind about debt?
When you have 20% APR, as it's known, which is the annual percentage rate on a credit card, any balance that you are carrying is bad for your family and your finances at 20% interest. So if you're buying this stuff, if you're spaving and it's ending up on a credit card, very, very bad time to do that.
Oh, my gosh. Christine, thank you. What would we do without you? You're saving me from myself. Let's get to some other finance headlines, including the White House's latest investment in AI. CNBC's Silvana Henao joins us with that and more. Hey, Silvana.
Hey, Savannah, good morning to you. So the White House says President Biden plans to announce a more than $3 billion investment by Microsoft for an AI data center in Wisconsin. The facility would be built on the same land as a failed $10 billion investment by Apple supplier Foxconn. The White House says the data center would create an estimated 2,300 union construction jobs and 2,000 permanent jobs over time. Meta is testing a new way to get more people to use Threads. It's now allowing a small group of users to cross-post photos from Instagram to Threads, and it's an optional feature, and users can also choose to automatically have all new photos shared to their Threads account as well. Threads currently has 150 million users. And Gold bars are selling like hotcakes in convenience stores and in vending machines in South Korea. A range of Gold bars weighing between 1/10 of a gram and nearly 2 grams have been on sale since the start of April. Local media says 1 gram bars sold out in just 2 days. They come with a congratulatory message and birthday wishes. More than 40% of sales are to people in their 30s.
Wow, that's
Savannah,
cool.
Christine's telling us not to spend money, and
I know. she's not happy with this segment. Silvana, thank you so much.
You got it.
All right, a postal worker in Texas made a very special delivery after finding letters from a soldier sent during World War II in the bottom of a mail bin. NBC News correspondent Valerie Castro has this story.
The stamp reads U.S. Army Postal Service, dated December 1942, a few years out of date from what letter carrier Alvin Gaucher usually sees at his Grand Prairie, Texas post office job.
Well, I was getting ready for my route, found basically some letters that were dated back to 1942, so World War II.
Dispatches from the South Pacific and from Alaska, some handwritten and some typed. One reading, I feel much better after the mail call we had last night. All sentiments that resonated with Alvin, who penned plenty of his own letters home while serving in Iraq.
Being a veteran myself, you know, World War II, and I'm like, man, this is like some history because, once again, mail boosts morale for all soldiers. So my main thought was I have to find this family.
That mission led Alvin far from his normal postal route to a home hundreds of miles away in Jackson, Arkansas.
Yes, ma'am. I'm delivering the mail to Arkansas.
I'm very excited and very tearful.
These letters, a key part of Joanne Smith's family history, recently lost in the mail system when a package from another family member in Tennessee was shipped across the country.
It didn't look like someone had opened it, the package came apart.
The original sender back in 1942, Joanne Smith's brother, Marion Lamb.
For me, it's a connection with my family.
She could hardly wait to read these letters for the first time.
Ask Joanne if she remembers me.
Thankful for the letter carrier who went out of his way to see this delivery through to its final destination.
I just appreciate Alvin. He has really gone out of his way. People connect on different levels, and I feel as connected to Alvin as I do my family. You made Mom cry.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna make me cry. Our thanks to Valerie for that story. What a sweet one. Well, coming up, we're heading down the rabbit hole after the break. The new Missouri tourist hotspot that's bringing the magic of children's books to vibrant life. We're gonna take you there up next. Welcome back, and snap your fingers. There's a cue in here for me to snap my fingers because we're talking about Wednesday. On a Wednesday, Netflix just announced the full cast for season 2 of the Addams Family spinoff with 12 new faces joining the mix, like Christopher Lloyd, who actually played Uncle Fester in the 1991 Addams Family film. Thandie Newton and Haley Joel Osment will also make guest star appearances. The new cast members will join Jenna Ortega, who is reprising her role as Wednesday Addams. Production for season 2 has already started over in Ireland. The season is set to premiere next year, and I'm sure have so many people talking, just like it did when it first premiered. All right, we're going to end this hour with a look at a new attraction in Missouri that is shining a light on the timeless magic of children's books. Here's NBC News correspondent Maya Eaglin with an inside look at the new exhibit called The Rabbit Hole.
In Kansas City, 3 generations of the Fetterman family gather for a story.
That should tell us if we are brave.
Inside the marshlands of Frog and Toad.
A big snake came out of the cave. Oh, the snake's over there. Yeah.
At the new Rabbit Hole Museum, the pages of beloved books are brought to life. From Caps for Sale and Madeline to Goodnight Moon and Where the Sidewalk Ends. 40 immersive exhibits in all.
Visitors enter through the rabbit hole and are transported into some of the most classic childhood books.
When I went into one of the rooms,
It was really cool because it looked exactly like the book.
It's the passion project of former bookstore owners Pete Cowden and Debbie Pettit.
It's one thing to buy a book, but it's another thing where that book is connected to a memory.
Harry was a white dog with black spots.
Why do you like reading?
It transports me to a different world.
With so many stories to tell, Pete and Debbie say the rabbit hole will be in constant evolution.
We've been working on it for 8 years. It's never going to be finished.
Nobody has seen my hat. What if I never see it again?
What are you hoping visitors walk away with from here?
The stories that we have here have already been told, and they can be experienced over and over again. We want every kid, especially, to know that they have a story that matters.
And wouldn't that be a happily ever after? Maya Eaglin, NBC News, Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay, Maya, what a sweet story. That's got to have you thinking about some of your favorites, right? Goodnight Moon was one of mine. That's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now. Don't go anywhere, though. The news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.